God bless you. Thank you for joining me today for Dreaming Together in 2020, week number 8. I hope that you are having a great day and that as you watch this video, the Lord just speaks to your life and He blesses you even more today. I want to just thank every person that is watching, every person that is sharing this video. For those that have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it, and I am so inspired and touched because of those people that are following along in this journey. I hope that God is doing great things in your life just as He has been doing in my life. And it has just been a beautiful time that I have experienced these first 8 weeks. And there is so much to tell of what God is doing. And so today I want to just talk a little bit about something that I've been reading in the book that I've been sharing with y'all. And last week we spoke about Jonah and how he fell asleep on the boat, and the storm had to wake him up so that he could do what God had called him to do. And so I kind of want to pick up there on a similar topic today, where we can see that not only do we have to wake up and do what God has called us to do, but we have to be connected to God so that He can help us on our journey to what He has called us to do. And so I want to talk a little bit about the churches in Revelation. As I was reading the book, the Lord just began to deal with me and speak to me because there's so many things that we can just learn from His Word. And so, as I mentioned last week, Jonah fell asleep, right? He had been called to do something. He fell asleep. He didn't want to obey. Eventually, he did obey, right? But I want to talk about the opposite thing. How sometimes we know that God has called us. We know that God has a purpose for our life and He has called us to do something specific. And sometimes we get so caught up in that we need to accomplish that we forget about our spiritual life, about growing, about being connected. And one thing that I've always said is that just because you have a ministry, because you're a pastor, because you're a leader, whatever it is that you do in the ministry or in church, just because we make ourselves so busy in what we have to do, it doesn't mean that our spiritual life is where it's supposed to be. Think about that for just a minute. Just because we have ministry, because we have a calling, if we're not feeding our spirit, if we're not in connection with God the way we're supposed to be, then we're just busy. We're just busy trying to accomplish a goal. And in the churches in Revelation, the author here speaks about some of the churches in the book of Revelation where Jesus Himself is telling them what He's pleased with and what He isn't pleased with. And so we have to see Jesus as our friend, our trainer, our coach, that He is going to lead us and help us along the way. And so Jesus does an assessment on these churches in the book of Revelation, and only two of these churches passed the test, if we could put it that way. And so I want to read two passages in the book of Revelation of Two of the churches that did not pass that assessment. Revelation chapter 3, verses 1 through 3. And I believe that this is the message version. And it says like this: Up on your feet, take a deep breath. Maybe there's life in you yet, but I wouldn't know it by looking at your busy work. Nothing of God's work has been completed. Your condition is desperate. Think of the gift you once had in your hands, the message you heard with your ears. Grasp it again and turn back to God. Wow, what a powerful message, a wake up call to this church. To think of the gift that they once had before. To go back to that message that they had once heard. And the main thing there, it says to turn back to God. And he was talking to a church. The second church is in chapter 3 of Revelation, verses 15 to 17. It says, I know you inside and out, and find little to my liking. You're not cold, you're not hot. Far better to be either cold or hot. You're stale, you're stagnant. You make me want to vomit. You brag. I'm rich, I've got it made. I need nothing from anyone, oblivious that in fact you're a pitiful, blind beggar, threadbare and homeless. They're powerful words that Jesus just shares with these two churches that didn't pass the assessment. And we never want to hear these words spoken to us. We want to be faithful. Yes, we're going to get busy in the process of what God has called us to do, but we can't disconnect and we can't forget why we're doing what we're doing. There is one that called us, and we have to do it all for him, not just disconnect ourselves from him, but stay constantly with him. Grab a hold of his hand and just keep going forward. And so not only, what I want to say is that not only do we have to wake up, but we have to be busy and in connection with God. We can't just be busy. We don't want to hear these words spoken to us that we have not, that we've forgotten, that we haven't, remained in our first love, that we're doing things just to do them, that we're bothered, that we're, we don't do things with a good attitude the way Jonah did. He wasn't wanting to do things with a good attitude. We have to remember the reason why we were called and do everything unto the Lord with a good heart and a good attitude. And so I want to read just one more verse from the Message translation there in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 19. It says, the people I love, I call to account, prod and correct and guide so that they'll live at their best. Up on their feet then, about face, run after God. We have to run after God. God is going to call us into account, and we want to be found that we have done what he has called us to do, that we've not disconnected from him, that we have been obedient to his word, that we have been obedient to what he has called us to do, and just continue to be a blessing to the people that we have been called to minister to. I hope that this is a something good of encouragement to your life. Yes, it kind of slaps us around a little bit because we tend to get busy. And we think, oh, it's okay, because I'm working at church, because I'm involved in this ministry, because I'm a leader, because I'm this or that, but that doesn't mean anything when our heart is not connected to God. It's one thing for our heart to be in what we're doing, but it's something else for it to be in what we're doing and connected to the one that called us to do it. And so I want for us to be encouraged today, and for us not to forget the one that called us. And he has called us to do great and mighty things. I hope this is a blessing to your life. I do want to take time and just, I know I promised, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, I promised that I would share a little bit about what is going on in my life, things that I've experienced on this journey. Um, and God has been just so good. I honestly cannot find the words to express how grateful I am for what God is doing in my life. And one of the things that God did just last week, I mentioned to you guys that we were in the valley. My husband was at some meetings, and um, it just so happened it wasn't something that was planned out. It was really something that was last minute. But I am a credentialed minister with the Assemblies of God, and I am a licensed minister, and the highest credential that you could have is to be an ordained minister. And that has been something that I've wanted to do. I've wanted to take that step. I knew I had to fill out paperwork and go through a process. But I didn't plan to do it last week. But there was an opportunity where I asked for the paperwork, and they told me, we'll interview you today. We'll give you the paperwork, and we'll do your interview today. And I was like, what? I'm not ready. And I was a little hesitant about it. But I said, well, I'm here. I should just go for it. There's times when God opens doors for us and gives us opportunities that we, like when we least expect it. And there are times that we just have to take that step of faith and believe that God just opened a door for us. And I went into the interview, and they asked me a couple of questions, and I was really encouraged with everything that took place. And I am happy to say that my interview went very well. And I just need a couple of things as far as paperwork is concerned, but I am approved to be an ordained minister. And that is something that I have wanted for a while. And I thank God because this summer, in the month of June, in our district council, I will be officially recognized as an ordained minister of the Assemblies of God, and all praise and glory to God for that accomplishment. So that is one thing that God is going to do this year. He already opened the door, and everything I know is going to fall into place, and I will be able to have that credential in the month of June. So praise God for that, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Because it's an accomplishment for me, and I want for it to be an encouragement to you that whenever God opens a door for you, in whatever aspect, whether it's in your job or in your career, your schooling, whatever it is, sometimes God is going to surprise us, and He is going to just show us like, hey, I just opened the door for you, come right in. And it's going to be when you least expect it, at the moment when you least expect it, and you just have to be ready. You have to be ready to walk through and say, Lord, I place myself in your hands, and I thank you for this opportunity and I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for it because remember, we are dreaming for things and God is going to surprise us. And it's when we least expect that He is going to open doors for us. So that is one thing. Another thing is that today, my husband and I received um, a breakthrough. I can put it that way. A breakthrough that we have been praying for, um, that is just going to um, truly be a blessing to us. Um, we've been praying for our finances, and I know that today um, God is beginning to do something, and it is just amazing because God has called us to trust Him, to trust Him when we're faithful to Him in our giving and we're faithful in all the aspects of our life. God just begins to open the windows of heaven and He pours out His blessing upon us. And we're not we're not perfect. Um, we can, I think everybody can say that we don't deserve, not any of us, we don't deserve all of the blessings that God pours upon our life. But God is faithful to His word, and He desires to see us blessed, happy, fulfilled. And it's just amazing, how God works, and He gives us the desires of our heart. So I want for this to be of encouragement to you. It's still the beginning of the year, and we're already seeing God just pour out His blessings and just, show that He is faithful, and He is just doing great and mighty things. I want to know and I want to hear about what God is doing in your life. What has He done for you in these first 8 weeks of this year? I know that God is doing something. God is up to something. And so this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what God is going to do in this year. So we are expectant. We are ready and anxious for everything that God has in store for us in this year. So I hope this word is of encouragement to you. I hope these testimonies are of encouragement as well, and that it just builds up your faith so that you can continue dreaming and continue believing that God is going to be with you and give you those dreams. You will be able to see your dreams fulfilled in this year. God bless you. I love you guys, and please share this video with someone. God bless you.